In the tranquil expanse of a local park, where the laughter of children and the rustling of leaves usually dominate, a scene unfolded that no one expected. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the deserted paths, a group of rowdy bikers stumbled into the wrong encounter. Among them, fueled by bravado and alcohol, they unwittingly challenged a woman who stood out not just for her strength, but for her unyielding determination. She wasn't just any woman, she was a soldier. A disciplined force to be reckoned with, her presence alone commanded respect. The bikers, emboldened by their numbers, and perhaps their own overconfidence, directed their drunken antics towards her. Tension crackled in the air as their confrontation reached a tipping point, leaving bystanders holding their breath. What happened next would not only test their misguided courage, but would also reveal the true measure of strength, both physical and moral, in the face of unexpected challenges. The park seemed to grow quieter, as if nature itself was holding its breath. The woman stood calm and composed, her stance steady, her eyes locked on the bikers. She didn't flinch as their loud laughter echoed through the trees, nor did she back away as they closed the distance. She had faced worse. Years of military training had taught her to stay focused under pressure, but this moment wasn't about drills or tactics. It was about standing her ground. The leader of the group, a burly man with a patch-covered jacket, took a step forward, his swagger exaggerated by his unsteady footing. "What's the matter?" He slurred, his words dripping with mockery. His friends cheered him on, their voices blending into a chorus of taunts. But she didn't respond. Instead, she studied them, assessing the situation with a sharpness that went unnoticed. The bikers had no idea who they were dealing with. The air between them felt heavy, almost electric, as the leader of the bikers gestured for his friends to spread out, circling her. Their movements were clumsy, more bark than bite, but there was an undeniable edge to the situation. The woman's hands rested casually at her sides, her calm composure masking the sharp awareness honed over years of training. She knew how quickly things could spiral and wasn't about to underestimate them, no matter how unsteady they seemed. Nearby, a jogger slowed down, sensing the tension but unsure whether to intervene or keep moving. Parents in the distance began ushering their children away from the scene, whispering nervously as they glanced back. The bikers, oblivious to the growing unease around them, continued their bravado. One of them, younger and less sure of himself, hesitated, glancing at the woman as if questioning what they were doing. But the others pushed forward, unaware they were about to cross a line they couldn't uncross. The leader of the bikers took another step closer, his grin wide and cocky. "What's the matter, soldier? You scared?" He jeered, his words slurring, but still sharp enough to draw laughs from his group. The woman didn't move, her face an unreadable mask. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down, not just on her, but on everyone watching from a safe distance. Her instincts were screaming at her to stay sharp, to be ready for anything. One of the bikers, emboldened by the leader's taunts, reached out as if to test her resolve. The woman shifted slightly, a subtle but deliberate movement that made him stop mid-action. Her silence was louder than any words, and it unsettled him. The younger biker, still hanging back, whispered something to the others, but his voice was drowned out by their growing arrogance. The group closed in further, their laughter echoing louder, unaware that they were teetering on the edge of a moment they would never forget. Just as the bikers closed in, the woman finally spoke, her voice calm but carrying an edge that cut through their noise. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," she said, her words measured but heavy with meaning. The leader hesitated for the briefest moment, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face before he brushed it off with a laugh. "Or what?" he challenged, stepping even closer. Before she could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed from behind the group. A tall man in plain clothes, with an air of quiet authority, appeared seemingly out of nowhere. His gaze was steady as he surveyed the scene. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice low and firm. The bikers turned to size him up, their confidence wavering slightly. The woman's expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of recognition in her eyes. Whoever this man was, he wasn't just a passerby. The bikers were now caught between two forces they didn't fully understand, and the balance of power was shifting in a way they hadn't expected. The leader of the bikers scoffed, trying to reclaim control of the situation. "Mind your business," he snapped at the man, but his voice lacked the same confidence as before. The woman shifted her stance slightly, her focus still locked on the group. "You should listen to him," she said coolly, her tone carrying a quiet warning. The man stepped forward, pulling a badge from his pocket and holding it up for them to see. "Federal agent," he announced, his voice calm but firm. "You're done here." The bikers froze, their earlier bravado crumbling in an instant. Panic flickered across their faces as they exchanged uncertain glances. The younger biker, who had been hesitant from the start, muttered, "Let's just go," but the leader wasn't ready to back down. Before he could speak, the woman took a step forward, her gaze unwavering. "Walk away now," she said firmly, her voice leaving no room for argument. Finally, the leader relented, grumbling as he signaled his group to back off. They stumbled away, their drunken arrogance replaced with humiliation. As the park returned to its calm, the agent turned to the woman and smiled knowingly. "You had it under control," he said. She smirked. "I always do." But as they exchanged a nod, the woman caught sight of something on the ground. A patch one of the bikers had dropped. It wasn't just a random group of drunks. The patch bore a symbol she recognized, one tied to a network of troublemakers she'd encountered before. The real challenge, it seemed, was just beginning. The woman picked up the patch, her fingers brushing over its worn edges. She exchanged a glance with the agent, who raised an eyebrow in quiet understanding. "Looks like we'll be seeing more of them," she said, her tone calm but edged with determination. The agent nodded, slipping the badge back into his pocket. "We'll be ready," he replied, his words carrying a promise. As the bikers disappeared into the distance, the park slowly returned to its usual rhythm. Karens brought their kids back to the playground, joggers resumed their routes, and the tension of the moment faded into the background. The woman took a deep breath, scanning the scene one last time before heading toward the exit. For those who had witnessed the confrontation, it wasn't just about strength or training. It was a lesson in standing firm and staying composed. And for the woman, it was just another day proving what true resilience looked like.